So guys, this is the next radio that I got in that lot for 50 bucks. This is a shortwave receiver. It's a Realisitc brand, which means it was probably sold through the Radio Shack stores back in the day. I think it's a tube radio. Matter of fact, there was even a couple of tubes that went with it. I'm assuming they might be for this radio or they might be for one of the other ones. But they're actually interesting. They're Realisitc brand lifetime electron tubes. This must be a used one because somebody wrote good on the box. And I don't know about that one there. It's a 6P5G. That number doesn't ring a bell. This is a 12B V7 or 12BY7A. That's a popular number. I recognize that one. Anyways, so it's kind of a neat radio, shortwave. Believe it or not, I almost left this radio there because I didn't initially have much interest in it. I'm glad I didn't. In addition to the radio, there's no internal speaker. It had the original, this is the SP150 external speaker that matches the radio. These alone are a saleable item on eBay if somebody's looking for one. You know, you can get a few bucks for that. So if I didn't already mention it, this is a model DX-160, and I guess there's still a few of these around. There was also this speaker that I took that was with the whole pile of stuff, oddly enough. Again, Realisitc branded speaker. I have no idea what this was for. I don't know if this was a extra speaker that the gentleman who owned this radio bought to go with it or what. It's got what looks like a 3.5 millimeter, looks like a 3.5 mil mono plug on it. Well, this has got a 1/4 inch mono plug, so different deal there. Just a little bit of a better look at the front of the radio here. So we've got a band spread control over here. Okay, so this is the main tuning knob. We've got an RF gain control. So if you've got some local stations that are really strong, you can turn the RF gain down. We've got a band switch, so that selects which band we want to use. Looks like it goes from 0.15 megahertz up to 100 megahertz. So this will actually take you into the FM broadcast band, which starts right around 88 megahertz up to about middle of that band. And there's probably some breaks here. This ends at 0.40 and then picks up at 0.535, so there's a small gap there. 1.6 and 1.55, so no gap there. 4.5, no gap there. 13 megahertz, and 30 megahertz, and this picks up down at, oh, what did I'm not wearing my glasses. That's my defense, guys. This goes up to 30 megahertz. That's the max. This doesn't go into the FM broadcast band. This bottom scale right here that goes up to 100 is a log scale. So, my mistake. Got a signal strength meter. What do we got? We got a standby and operate switch, so you can keep the, yeah, so this is obviously a tube unit. You can keep the unit, the filaments on, so it's ready to go. AVC, I think that's like an automatic gain control. We've got mode switch here. Looks like we've got AM and SSB, so it has capability to tune in single sideband operation. And A&L, which is an automatic noise limiter. That's a little filter you can kick in for static. Back here we've got an antenna trim switch. We've got audio frequency gain, so that's a fancy name for volume control, and it's also the on-off switch. And a big chunk of somebody's cancer foam fell out of that. BFO pitch, that would stand for beat frequency oscillator, which I believe is what you need to tune in a sideband signal. Yeah, and again, probably not a good idea to power something this old up and just take it on faith that it's going to be okay. I guess I could throw a variac on it. So this is my Sencor PR57 power right, and this is a isolation transformer with a variac and an ammeter and a voltmeter all built into one unit here. It's a very nice piece of equipment. This particular one has an issue. There is a resistor that has basically gone out of range, and so my voltmeter is not correct on this. However, everything else seems to work perfectly fine. So when I put this online, it's reading the line voltage right now. It should be reading up here, and it's only showing around 50 volts. So obviously that's incorrect. So all I need to keep in mind is that when I put it on output, I can now vary the output, and all I need to know is that when I get up to 50 there, I'm actually at full line voltage, because this can actually over voltage. I think this can go up to 140 or 150 volts AC. I don't remember exactly. So anyways, now that I know that that's working, I'm going to switch this to current mode, and I'm going to plug the radio in, and I'm going to turn the radio on, and of course no current yet, as to be expected because I haven't put any voltage to it. So now I'm going to bring the voltage up a little bit. Let's see where it is. Not really much. Getting some dial lights here. I'm starting to get a little bit of noise out of the speaker. That's probably around 90 volts right there. I should be getting something. I should be getting some current draw. So maybe my variac has other issues. So much for being able to have seen whether or not it was drawing excessive current. Good news is, apparently I didn't have to worry about that because I'm almost at the full voltage now. And I've got noise coming out of the speaker and no smoke. So there we go, that's full voltage right there. That's max volume though, so let's see if we can't. Yeah, I would say this is probably a sick radio. I am going to, just for the heck of it, I believe this funky looking antenna deal here, some sort of a homemade deal by the looks of it, actually went with this radio because it has this unusual plug on the end of it, which I think fits right in an outlet on the back of this radio. No, my mistake. That's for something else, I don't know what. Only got a couple of screw terminals in the back. Let me just throw a piece of wire on there. Oh, I have this in standby mode. I'm surprised I'm getting anything at all. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my voltage back down, put it back on the ammeter, take it off the standby. Bring the voltage up a little bit. Oh. I'll pick this up after supper. Well, bands D and E seem pretty dead. Well, actually, I think it just all died. Well, I decided to ditch the Variac and plug it in direct since it doesn't seem to be in danger of burning up, but all I'm getting now is just a little bit of white noise at full volume. So all of the stations went dead. When I first powered it up, though, played around with it, it started to crackle a little bit, and I started to get some stations on A and B. The audio was low, but I was definitely tuning in stations. In the upper bands, I couldn't get anything, and then when I went back to the lower bands afterwards, I got nothing. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we're dealing with a tube that's weak and died. Probably an oscillator tube or something like that. Crapped out. So it's going to need a little bit of attention, but it, might be worth fixing up.